Right now, lawmakers in Washington are preparing to pass the Clarity Act. It is legislation designed to migrate America's $500 trillion capital markets out of traditional vaults and onto public blockchains. The intention is to build a modern equivalent of the classic Bailey building and loan. Instead of relying on expensive corporate middlemen, everyday people could use decentralized peer-to-peer finance to move money, settle trades, and secure loans instantly. But that migration is meeting aggressive resistance. Traditional banking powers have launched an intense lobbying push to stall or rewrite these protections. Moving the global economy onto distributed ledgers requires establishing who actually owns and operates the underlying plumbing. This is a battle for absolute control over the physical infrastructure of the future. Mega bank executives like JPMorgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon represent the legacy banking establishment, a group invested in maintaining their position as the gatekeepers of your capital. Publicly, these institutions argue against clear protections for public stablecoins, claiming they are dangerous or lack oversight. Privately, they are spending hundreds of millions of dollars building their own proprietary blockchain networks and node infrastructure. Wall Street recognizes the efficiency of distributed ledgers. Their real concern is that they do not control the public networks. They are preparing to deploy their massive capital to buy up the nodes and computing power that make up the digital town square. If they are forced to operate on public blockchains, the traditional financial guard will use their immense resources to dominate the processing infrastructure and squeeze out the general public. The foundational base of any blockchain is called Layer 0, the physical nodes and validators where every single transaction is processed and permanently recorded. This animation shows a retail user's transaction moving smoothly across the network toward a processing block. However, those who control this plumbing can utilize a mechanism known as maximal extractable value, or MEV. Imagine the town's richest banker suddenly owns all the roads and employs all the tellers. Because they process the data, they have the power to literally pause time and inspect your deposit before it reaches the vault. Seeing a profitable trade in motion, this dominant validator inserts itself ahead of you. They copy your exact move, execute it first to capture the profit, and then charge you a heavy toll to let your original transaction finish. MEV operates exactly like front-running in traditional markets. When massive institutions capture enough processing power, they turn a decentralized network into a highly efficient, rigged toll booth. To scale this extraction, large banks can use their bottomless capital to set up hidden third-party affiliates. By funding an army of shadow validators, they systematically monopolize network participation without appearing on the surface. As these banking affiliates swallow up more and more nodes, their ability to monitor and front-run retail trades compounds, allowing them to siphon value from thousands of transactions every second. This chart illustrates how network transaction costs, or gas fees, exponentially skyrocket during these attacks. Validators prioritize their own lucrative trades, driving up the baseline cost of using the network, while ordinary users are forced out, dropping entirely off the board. The hardware and energy demands for competitive participation rise so drastically that it becomes computationally infeasible and prohibitively expensive for a small business or individual to even interact with the network. Through deliberate capture of the underlying plumbing, Wall Street forces a democratized public good to function as a private, extractive monopoly. Currently, agencies like the FDIC are flying blind. They rely on static point-in-time financial audits and possess no mathematical mechanism to detect or measure this kind of shadow validation activity. Researchers at the Rutgers Continuous Auditing and Reporting Lab, in partnership with Audit Chain Labs AG, have validated a system capable of exposing this. It is called the Blockchain Network Participation, or BNP, Disclosure Taxonomy. This diagram maps out the central architecture of the framework, which forces institutions to answer 148 specific machine-readable questions. It tracks their direct network participation, hidden affiliate activities, and third-party node operations, pushing it all into an observable pipeline. This chart illustrates the MEV detection analytics within the framework, comparing baseline expectations against reported actuals. By tracking these metrics, the algorithms can immediately pinpoint hidden yield evasion loops and unnatural revenue spikes. The BNP framework provides continuous, executable technological governance. It makes it mathematically impossible for megabanks to hide their shadow monopolies from the public. Right now, Washington is fractured. Digital asset innovators are clashing directly with traditional banking gatekeepers over the final language of the Clarity Act. This is a fight over the rules of the Internet's financial rails. Whoever controls the validation layer dictates how value moves across the global economy for the next century. To protect the public, Congress and federal regulators must mandate the adoption of the BNP Disclosure Taxonomy. The law must force banks, their hidden affiliates, and third-party service providers to transparently and continuously disclose all of their mining, staking, and network validation activities. Only through enforced transparency can we ensure public blockchains remain the decentralized bedrock of Main Street, rather than being paved over into another private monopoly.